Imagine carving your soul into stone, and would every beam a prayer, every door a barrier to your own freedom. In the shadows of Savannah's grandest mansion, a forbidden genius built a monument to perfection, only to be locked out by the very hands that chained him. But on the night his master fell, divine justice whispered through the halls, and what he left behind still echoes with unholy retribution. Dare you step inside the mystery? In the humid vale of Savannah, Georgia, where the air hangs heavy with the scent of magnolia blooms and the salty whisper of the nearby river, stands a mansion that defies the passage of time. Its facade gleams like a spectral guardian under the relentless southern sun, columns rising like ancient sentinels forged from pristine white marble, their fluted surfaces etched with the precision of a divine architect. The mahogany doors, hand-hewn with intricate motifs of vines and serpents, symbols of temptation and fall, catch the light in a way that seems almost alive, as if the wood itself breathes with the weight of unspoken sins. Tourists flock here daily, their cameras clicking like mechanical insects, capturing the symmetry that borders on the uncanny, windows aligned with mathematical exactitude, cornices curving in golden ratios that echo the spirals of creation itself. Guides drone on about neoclassical influences, the grandeur of antebellum design, but they avert their eyes from the deeper truth, the spiritual scar that pulses beneath the plaster. This is the Grenville estate, a testament not to human ambition, but to a haunting interplay of bondage, brilliance, and biblical reckoning. For the man who conceived every arch, who measured every shadow's fall, who infused the structure with a symmetry that mirrored the order of the heavens, was forbidden from crossing its threshold. He was a slave, renamed and reshaped like clay in a potter's hand, his genius harnessed like a caged seraphim. Nathan, once a name whispered in freedom's distant memory, now branded Nathan Grenville, poured his essence into this edifice, only to be barred from its embrace. Until the master's death unraveled the chains, not of iron, but of fate. That fateful dawn, when servants discovered him in the grand foyer, bathed in the first rays of a blood-red sunrise, surrounded by phenomena that defied earthly explanation, whispers in empty rooms, shadows that lingered too long, a chill that seeped from walls untouched by winter, the household was struck mute. Authorities sealed lips with haste, flames consumed ledgers, and the press turned blind eyes. Yet the house endures, a silent oracle, its foundations rooted in soil soaked with sweat and silent prayers. If walls could confess, they would speak of divine justice, of sins unabsolved, of a legacy that chills the soul like a judgment from on high. Pause here, viewer. Feel the weight of that silence. If this tale stirs the embers of curiosity in your chest, if it awakens a hunger for truths buried in history's shadowed corners, lend your voice to this channel. Subscribe now, and in the comments, share the city that calls you home. Let it be a bridge connecting us across time and space. Your engagement fuels these revelations, ensuring more stories emerge from the forgotten vaults. Let us journey back, then, to the spring of 1852, where Savannah simmered like a cauldron of contradictions, its streets a tapestry woven from threads of opulence and oppression. The city sprawled along the Savannah River, a port where the world's bounty converged, cotton bales towering like white monoliths on the docks, their fibers destined for distant mills, barrels of indigo dye, staining the air with a deep, melancholic blue, tobacco leaves bundled in hogsheads, their earthy aroma mingling with the brine of the sea. Ships from Liverpool creaked into harbor, their hulls scarred by Atlantic tempests, unloading not just goods, but human souls, shackled figures emerging from fetid holds, eyes hollow with the abyss of the Middle Passage. The air thrummed with the cries of gulls overhead, the rhythmic chants of laborers heaving crates, and the distant toll of church bells, calling the faithful to pews where sermons on mercy rang hollow against the clink of chains. In the historic heart of the city, Oglethorpe Square pulsed with genteel life. Spanish moss dangled from gnarled live oaks like ghostly veils, casting dappled shadows on cobblestone paths where horse-drawn carriages clattered by. Townhouses of red brick and wrought iron balconies bloomed with azaleas and camellias, their petals unfurling in vibrant pinks and whites, perfuming the thick humidity so intensely that each breath tasted of forbidden Eden. Behind ornate gates, fountains murmured secrets in secluded courtyards, where ladies in crinoline skirts fanned themselves against the oppressive heat, discussing Dickens' latest or the silks arriving from Paris. Yet this veneer of refinement masked a profound moral schism. In the same squares, enslaved individuals hawked produce from meager gardens, their voices blending with the auctioneer's gavel on Factor's Walk, where fortunes were tallied in ledgers that omitted the human cost. Commerce coursed through Savannah's veins like a fevered pulse, counting houses alive with the scratch of quills on parchment, merchants in starched collars debating shipments while ignoring the spectral presence of those who toiled unseen. The elite dined on silver platters, served by hands that bore the calluses of ceaseless labor, their existence acknowledged only in commands or corrections. It was a world balanced on the knife edge of hypocrisy, where biblical verses on dominion justified dominion over fellow man, and the pursuit of wealth eclipsed the pursuit of righteousness. Into this fractured paradise arrived the Grenville family in the spring of 1849, fleeing the waning rice fields of Charleston for fresher prospects. Their wealth, amassed from plantations along the Ashley River and Caribbean trade routes, afforded them entry into Savannah's upper echelons, yet they carried the scent of newcomers eager, ambitious, shadowed by unspoken hungers. Marcus Grenville, at 42, cut a figure of restless authority, tall and angular, with hair silvering at the temples like frost on autumn leaves, and eyes piercing gray orbs that darted ceaselessly, probing for imperfections as if the world itself were a flawed canvas. His gaze held the chill of a winter squall, born from a childhood marred by chaos, where order became his salvation, his obsession. Perfection was not mere preference, it was scripture, a personal covenant against the entropy he despised. Beside him stood Catherine, 36, a wisp of a woman whose grace masked the bruises of endurance. 16 years of marriage had taught her the art of invisibility, steps soft as fallen petals, words measured like precious spices, her household managed with the efficiency of a cloistered nun. She bore him 3 daughters, Virginia, 14, with her mother's quiet fire, Margaret, 11, curious and unscarred, and 8, innocent as dawn, but no sons to carry the name, a void Marcus filled with silent reproach. It lingered in the air between them, a ghost at every meal, a reminder of perceived failings that echoed the biblical barrenness of Sarah, though without the promise of divine intervention. Marcus's vision for Savannah was crystalline, a mansion to eclipse all others, a beacon that would weave the Grenvilles into the city's aristocratic tapestry, erasing their Charleston roots. It would be more than stone and mortar, it would be a monument to his unyielding will, a physical manifestation of order amid the South's swirling disorder. Proportions must align with cosmic precision, lines straight as moral absolutes, every element a testament to mastery over imperfection. This fixation, rooted in some deep-seated wound, perhaps a father's neglect or a mother's early grave, drove him relentlessly. He engaged his first architect mere weeks after settling into a rented townhouse, a man of repute whose portfolio graced Savannah's skyline. The plans arrived on fine vellum, a Greek revival edifice with porticos and pediments. Marcus scrutinized them under lamplight, his fingers tracing lines, his brow furrowing like storm clouds. Too narrow, he decreed. The fenestration disrupts the harmony. Dismissal followed, swift as a guillotine. The second architect endured 3 months, sketches revised endlessly until Marcus's patience shattered like fragile porcelain. Cramped. Uninspired. The third broke ground, foundations laid in red Georgia clay, only for Marcus to halt work at dawn, tape measure in hand, declaring deviations of mere inches as blasphemous errors. 4, 5, 6 each successor met the same fate, their reputations tarnished by association with the mad Grenville. Whispers spread through salons and clubs, "He's chasing phantoms," they said. A house of dreams that devours the dreamers. Catherine observed from afar, her heart a knot of anxiety. Costs spiraled like unchecked vines, their social standing precarious in a rented abode. Virginia, sharp-tongued and perceptive, confided in hushed tones, "Father's madness grows, mother." The Harringtons mock us, the house that haunts before it's built. Catherine could only nod, her prayers silent pleas for deliverance, invoking psalms of patience amid marital trials. Then, on a sweltering afternoon in late April 1852, Providence, or perhaps temptation, intervened. At his gentleman's club, amid haze of cigar smoke and brandy fumes, Marcus overheard tales of a prodigy in the Drayton workshops. "The mantel in my study," boasted Thomas Havisham, a portly merchant with ruddy cheeks. Carved like Michelangelo's hand touched it, every vein in the marble vein, every fold in the drapery alive. Intrigued, Marcus pressed, "Who is this artisan? Can he conceive, not just copy?" Havisham leaned in, voice dropping to a conspiratorial murmur. "Nathan, they call him. Drayton's slave, but with a mind like Da Vinci. Show him a notion, and he births perfection. Uncanny, almost otherworldly." The word perfection ignited Marcus like a spark to tinder. The next day, his carriage rattled to the Drayton estate, dust swirling in its wake. The workshop loomed behind the main house, a weathered barn of cypress planks, doors yawning wide to admit the breeze. Inside, the symphony of creation assaulted the senses, the sharp tang of sawdust mingling with varnish's acrid bite, linseed oil's nutty undertone, hammers ringing against chisels, planes sighing over wood. 3 workers bent to tasks, but Marcus's gaze locked on the figure in the corner, illuminated by a shaft of sunlight filtering through grimy panes. Nathan stood tall, sinewy frame honed by years of labor, skin the deep hue of polished ebony, hands moving with the grace of a conductor over a cherrywood panel. His attire, faded cotton shirt sleeves rolled to elbows, trousers dusted with shavings, belied the artistry unfolding, a relief carving of a biblical hunt, perhaps evoking Nimrod's folly or David's pursuit, dogs frozen in eternal leap, muscles rippling under fur rendered with microscopic incisions, riders' cloaks billowing as if caught in divine wind. Trees bore leaves veined like human palms, skies textured with impending judgment. Marcus watched, transfixed, for minutes that stretched like eternity. Nathan sensed the intrusion, his shoulders tightened, a subtle ripple, but his focus remained unbroken, chisel dancing with hypnotic precision. The overseer, Talbot, a squat, sweat-sheened man with a perpetual squint, scurried over. "That's Nathan, sir. 8 years here, finest detail work in the state." "Does he draft?" Marcus demanded, eyes devouring the carving. Talbot shifted uneasily. "He's self-taught, sir. Sketches his own designs, has to, for precision like that." "Show me." Hesitation flickered, but Marcus's bills, crisp and persuasive, dissolved doubts. In a dusty alcove, protected from elements, lay Nathan's archive, stacks of sketches on scavenged scraps, charcoal smudges on newsprint remnants, pencil lines on discarded ledgers, even etchings on smoothed bark. Architectural visions leaped forth, a plantation manor with columns echoing Solomon's temple, proportions divine in their balance, a cathedral spire piercing heavens, structurally sound yet aspiring to the infinite, a conservatory where light and shadow played like angels and demons. Marcus's breath caught, hands quivering as he leafed through. These were not mimicries, they were revelations, born from a mind attuned to the universe's hidden geometries. "I must have him," he declared, voice laced with fervor. "Fetch Drayton. Tell him Grenville offers double to triple his worth." Negotiations spanned 3 grueling days, Drayton reluctant to relinquish his asset. But Marcus's purse prevailed, $2,000, an exorbitant sum, sealing Nathan's fate like Judas's silver. For Marcus, it was investment in salvation, a vessel for his perfection. On May 1, 1852, Nathan arrived via wagon, tools bundled in oilcloth, possessions scant as a monk's. Marcus awaited in the repurposed carriage house turned workshop, benches of fresh pine, shelves for supplies, windows admitting golden light. It dwarfed typical quarters, a grudging concession to utility. "I've witnessed your gifts," Marcus intoned, silhouette stark against the door. "Design my mansion, the pinnacle of Savannah. Perfection in every facet." Nathan met his gaze unflinchingly, a spark of defiance or destiny in his eyes. "I can, sir. With time, materials, your vision clear." Marcus's smile was glacial, a predator's satisfaction. "You'll have what you need. Draft, oversee, but never enter. The house is mine, a sanctuary you profane not." Understanding dawned, heavy as chains. "As you command. One more, your name is now Nathan Grenville. Property and purpose aligned." He proffered the bill of sale, ink fresh as a wound. Nathan accepted, folding it with care. As Marcus departed, Talbot lingered. "Cruel twist, building what you can't touch, like Tantalus's torment." Nathan's response carried prophetic weight, or like Moses viewing the promised land. Opportunity to craft eternity, outlasting masters and slaves alike. Talbot chuckled uneasily. "You see through veils others don't." In the ensuing weeks, collaboration unfolded in twilight sessions. Marcus paced, articulating desires in fragments, grandeur without excess, like God's creation, ordered, sublime. Nathan sketched, probing, rooms for feasting, reflection? Style echoing ancients? Greek revival, but pure proportions as in sacred texts. The lot's map unrolled, Nathan envisioning the structures dance with light, its stance against the world. Nights blurred into days, Nathan laboring by lamplight, sustenance forgotten until delivered. Sketches evolved, floor plans mapping lives like fate's blueprint, elevations rising with ethereal grace. Catherine watched from afar, sensing a spiritual undercurrent, a man forging not just a house, but a judgment seat. As designs coalesced, an aura of the uncanny settled. Whispers of Nathan's past surfaced, born free in the north? Self-educated in forbidden books? His work bore symbols, subtle crosses and moldings, serpents and friezes hinting at deeper allegories of fall and redemption. Marcus ignored them, fixated on form, blind to the soul infusing the stone. Yet in quiet moments, Nathan prayed over parchments, fingers tracing lines like verses. This mansion would stand as testament to human hubris, divine equity. A chilling prelude to retribution, where the builder's exclusion sowed seeds of haunting legacy. The preliminary sketches arrived in 2 weeks, arcs perfect as rainbows post-flood. Marcus pored over them, a flicker of awe piercing his armor. For the first time, vision aligned with reality. But beneath, tension brewed. Nathan's gaze held secrets, as if he built not for man, but for a higher court. As months unfolded, the design deepened. Ballrooms for revelry, libraries for contemplation, each space a microcosm of existence. Sensory details abounded, marble floors cool underfoot, chandeliers casting prismatic light like scattered manna, gardens where fountains sang psalms of renewal. Spiritually, the house whispered of Eden lost, gates barring entry, like the flaming sword, interiors promising paradise denied. Nathan woven motifs of justice, scales and balustrades, eyes and pediments, eyes of providence watching, waiting. Emotionally, the process gripped like a vice. Marcus's obsession bordered mania, Catherine's worry a silent vigil, daughters sensing shadows lengthening. Nathan, stoic, channeled anguish into art, his creation a cry for absolution. Historically, it rooted in Savannah's soul, materials from local quarries, styles blending European grandeur with southern resilience. Yet originality shone, no mere copy, but a symphony of innovation, proportions recalibrated for spiritual resonance. As full drawings neared, a chill descended. Servants reported dreams of locked doors opening, voices echoing in empty workshops. Divine retribution stirred, a prelude to the master's fall. This part sets the stage, viewer, a canvas of human frailty against eternal truths. The mansion rises, but so does the specter of judgment. What secrets will construction unearth? Hold your breath, the story deepens. The summer of 1852 draped Savannah in a shroud of unrelenting heat, where the sun beat down like divine scrutiny upon every surface. In the Grenville rented townhouse, lamplight flickered long into the nights from the workshop windows, a beacon amid the humid darkness. Catherine Grenville often stood at her upstairs sill, gazing toward that glow, pondering the enigma of the man who labored there. What fire drove him to pour such fervor into a creation he would never inhabit? A structure born of his mind, yet barred to his body, like Moses beholding Canaan from Pisgah's peak, tasting paradise only through vision. She never voiced the question. In her world, such inquiries invited peril. Silence was safer, a shield against the storm brewing beneath her husband's obsession. Marcus's reviews grew ritualistic, almost sacramental. He would arrive at dusk, coat discarded, sleeves rolled, and spread the latest sheets across the workbench like Holy Writ. Hours passed as he measured with calipers and straightedge, eyes narrowing at intersections of line and angle. Most drawings passed muster. Nathan's precision was unerring, rooted in mathematical truths that transcended whim. Yet occasionally, a flaw appeared in Marcus's gaze alone. The portico columns, he declared one sweltering evening, voice sharp as a blade. 6 feet in circumference? Insufficient. Make them 6.5. The visual weight demands it. Nathan paused, pencil suspended. Sir, that alters the entasis, the intercolumniation, the entire classical ratio fractures. I know what I desire, Marcus countered, unyielding. The revision consumed 3 days. Nathan recalculated tirelessly. Wider columns demanded adjusted spacing, which warped the pediment's pitch, which rippled to window apertures, cornice heights, even shadow play across the facade. One thread pulled, and the tapestry reshaped. Yet he wove it back into harmony, proportions realigned like stars after eclipse. He always restored balance. Always. By late August, the full corpus lay complete, over 60 sheets of meticulous vellum, floor plans for 3 levels unfolding like biblical scrolls, elevations capturing the house's ascent in perfect symmetry, sectional views revealing interior volumes like the chambers of the tabernacle, enlarged details of moldings curling like vines in Eden, material specifications etched in ink as firm as covenant promises. Custom furnishings too, tables proportioned for communion-like gatherings, chairs carved with subtle motifs hinting at redemption's arc. Marcus devoted a week to scrutiny, sheets arrayed across every surface, light shifting as he moved. On Thursday evening, cicadas shrilling their ancient dirge and heat lightning veining the sky like cracks in judgment's seal, he set the final page down. "It's perfect," he breathed, almost reverent. "Every line, every measure, precisely as I envisioned. Even elements I never knew I craved until your hand revealed them." Relief washed through Nathan, a quiet loosening of chains he had worn for months. "Thank you, sir." Construction commences September, Marcus continued. "Hollis & Sons, the finest crew in Savannah. You supervise daily. No deviation from these plans. Understood?" "Yes, sir." Marcus gathered the rolls. "This house will forge our legacy. Generations will speak of it." At the door, he halted. "No one learns you designed it. The vision is mine. You execute. Clear?" "Clear, sir." Alone afterward, Nathan sat amid the emptied tables. 4 months, countless calculations, all credited to another. Anger might have risen, betrayal's bitter root. Instead, serenity settled. The house would rise, his vision incarnate in brick, timber, plaster. Marcus might claim authorship, but truth resided deeper, every proportion born of Nathan's intellect, every subtle choice his alone. The mansion would bear Marcus's name and law, but in essence, in the silent language of form, it belonged to its true creator. He would ensure its perfection. Groundbreaking came September 15, 1852, under skies pregnant with rain that mercifully held. Marcus orchestrated ceremony, prominent families invited, speeches on classical virtue and civic beauty. He plunged the ceremonial spade to applause, earth turning like pages in destiny's book. Guests departed, labor commenced. Hollis & Sons deployed 20 men, carpenters, masons, laborers, enslaved hands for the heaviest toil. Foreman James Hollis, third-generation builder, reviewed drawings with Nathan on day 1. "Your work?" "Yes, sir." Hollis studied long. "Remarkable." "Self-taught?" "At 32, sir." Respect flickered. "We proceed thus, I manage crew and schedule. You inspect every detail. If flawed, we rectify no matter the cost. Perfection is paid for." "Agreed." Dawn to dusk, Nathan patrolled the site, drawings in hand. Foundations leveled to hair's breadth, framing joints scrutinized, beams aligned with unerring eye. Workers learned swiftly, Nathan's quarter-inch deviation across 30 feet proved true when instruments confirmed. "Gift," Hollis muttered. "He sees what we miss." Yet the prohibition endured. Nathan never crossed thresholds. As walls ascended, he devised methods, leaning through doorways, peering via windows from scaffolds, climbing exterior frames pre-stairs. Workers adapted, materials positioned at edges, inspections conducted at boundaries. Strange, yet accepted. One November afternoon, plasterer Reynolds grumbled to Hollis, cruel, designing paradise, barred from it. "What master inflicts that?" Hollis cut short, "The kind who pays. Mind your trowel." Nathan overheard, retreating to workshop that night. Cruelty? Familiar companion, mother sold at 7, craft stolen in shadows. This banishment, though, granted creation's gift. More than most endured. And he harbored purpose, embedding what Marcus could never perceive. Subtly, it began. Foundation stones bore hidden marks, symbols buried forever, measurements resonant beyond utility. Proportions. Drawn from ancient wisdom, golden ratios echoing creation's order, divine proportions as in Noah's Ark or the tabernacle, length to breadth approximating phi, harmony divine. Nathan had devoured forbidden texts by candlelight, Vitruvius, Palladio, scraps on sacred geometry. Buildings could speak, embody ideas, channel truths. His mansion would whisper to those attuned, justice's geometry, retribution's pattern. Through fall and winter, secrets accrued. Hexagonal load points, invisible yet structuring weight like cosmic order. Window alignments forming sightlines of meaning, crosses, stars, paths of light mimicking providence. Acoustics tuned, rooms where echoes carried psalms like clarity. In the grand hall, center point allowed vision into 6 rooms via aligned doors, hexagon of perception, harmonic convergence. Light pooled there, focused by reflective surfaces, evoking the Shekinah's glow. Sound from house converged, clear as judgment's call. Winter yielded to spring, framing clothed in plaster, floors laid. The staircase, Nathan's triumph, curved upward, gravity defied through calculus and faith. He carved balustrades himself, nights cold, acanthus leaves twining like life's persistence, vines blooming in wood. Hidden, 7 balusters marked, 6-pointed stars, compass roses, geometric sigils. Seemingly decorative variants, truly, markers in sacred schema. Workers installed unaware. Beauty sufficed, subtlety escaped. Nights, Nathan maintained secret archive, diagrams mapping veiled geometry, calculations of resonance, notes on harmonics most architects ignored. And a journal, initially logs, evolving confessional. May 3, 1853. Drawing room complete. From threshold, observed Mrs. Grenville take tea with daughters. Light is calculated, south wall warmed, room aglow. Her smile born of space I shaped. Power? Or stewardship? September 17, 1853. Staircase installed. Men ascend, testing. Each riser 7 inches, tread 11, curve perfect. Floats, though engineered. Marcus smiles, genuine. Pleased with my labor, unknowing. Journal thickened through 1853 to 1854, isolation's ache, overhearing praise for Marcus's vision, satisfaction in concealed truth. Yet pattern deepened, 7 points hexagoning hall center, unity resolved in mathematics. My signature in geometry, not ink. By summer 1855, near completion, exterior pristine, columns gleaming like temple pillars, pediments carved with restrained grandeur. Interiors furnished, French wallpaper, Italian marble, Parisian chandeliers. Nathan's designs, tables for fellowship, mantles evoking altars. Marcus toured with family early July. Nathan watched from garden, nods of satisfaction, smiles of pleasure, girls' exclamations. That evening, Marcus visited workshop. Perfect. Beyond imagination. Thank you. Closest to acknowledgement. Grand opening, July 20, 1855. Days sweltered, evening breeze from river merciful. Carriages arrived at 7, elite in finery descended. Nathan aided preparations, lamps checked, musicians seated, decorations secured. As twilight fell, he withdrew to gardens, camellias blooming, oaks draped in moss. From shadows, windows framed scenes, ballroom aglow, couples whirling to strings in gallery heat proportioned for resonance. Music carried perfectly, clear, enveloping. Drawing room, ladies admiring wallpaper, cornices, intimacy of scale fostering discourse. Dining room, oysters, ham, French vegetables on his table, proportioned for communion. Marcus circulated, gesturing at staircase, claiming its curve, carvings, levitation. Guests applauded. Through one window, Catherine's gaze met Nathan's. Moment held recognition? Remorse? She turned away. Nathan remained amid night blooms, witnessing creation alive. Music, laughter, light, all as intended. Hidden geometry pulsed unseen, center point harmonizing sight and sound, symbols waiting. Enough, he thought. For now. Yet the house remembered. Divine proportions embedded, justice inscribed. Retribution's seed sown. Awaiting harvest when master fell. Viewer, sense the tension building. The mansion stands complete, secrets locked within. What happens when death unlocks the forbidden door? The climax approaches, hold fast. The evening of July 20, 1855, unfolded like a ritual unveiling, the Grenville mansion alive with the pulse of Savannah's elite. Nathan lingered in the garden's embrace, shadows lengthening under the live oaks draped in Spanish moss like morning veils. The air hung thick with jasmine's seductive perfume, mingling with the distant hum of river traffic, a reminder of the city's dual soul, prosperity built on the backs of the bound. From his vantage, windows glowed like watchful eyes, framing vignettes of revelry, silk gowns swirling in the ballroom's golden light, laughter echoing with crystalline clarity thanks to the acoustics he had meticulously tuned. He moved from bush to bush, drawn inexorably to different views, witnessing his design in motion. Proportions that guided footsteps subconsciously, light that sculpted moods like a divine hand molding clay, spaces that fostered intimacy amid grandeur. It was as if the house breathed, its rhythms syncing with human hearts, unaware pilgrims in a temple they couldn't comprehend. From the main hall's tall panes, Nathan glimpsed the central nexus, that sacred point where his concealed geometries intertwined like the threads of fate in Job's trials. Guests traversed it obliviously, a merchant pausing mid-conversation, a lady adjusting her fan, all positioned unwittingly at the architectural core. 6 doorways aligned in perfect harmony, sightlines radiating like spokes of a celestial wheel, echoing the 6 days of creation before divine rest. Sound converged there too, whispers from distant rooms amplified as if by angelic chorus, light destined to pool in prismatic holiness at dawn. Nathan's heart swelled with a quiet awe, a spiritual satisfaction amid the sting of exclusion. This was his imprint on eternity, a silent sermon on humility and hidden worth, where the meek might yet inherit through ingenuity. As midnight approached, the party's fervor softened, candles flickering like souls in vigil. Nathan watched Marcus lead a cadre of gentlemen upstairs, their ascent along the grand staircase a procession up his masterpiece. The balustrade gleamed under gaslight, each spindle a testament to months of labor, acanthus leaves unfurling like resurrection ferns, vines twisting in patterns that veiled deeper symbols. Thomas Havisham, the unwitting catalyst who had first whispered of Nathan's talents, halted at the first marked baluster. His finger traced the concealed sigil, a subtle hexagram, star of creation and protection, buried in floral motifs like Solomon's seal. Nathan's breath caught, a flicker of dread. Would recognition dawn? Would the veil tear, exposing the sacred code woven against pride's folly? Havisham merely smiled, murmuring approval, and proceeded. The symbol endured, hidden in plain sight, a guardian of mysteries like the parables Christ spoke to the uninitiated. Carriages clattered away around 2 o'clock, the night reclaiming its hush. Nathan remained rooted in the garden, the mansion's silhouette a monolithic shadow against star-pricked skies. Servants shuffled within, extinguishing lamps one by one, until only faint glows lingered in upper chambers. The family ascended to rest, leaving the house to its nocturnal vigil. At 3, Nathan retreated to his workshop, the path familiar yet laden with reflection. He kindled a single candle, its flame dancing shadows across sketches pinned like icons on the wall, the mansion's evolution from ethereal vision to tangible form. He opened his journal, quill scratching parchment in the quiet. July 20, 1855. The edifice breathes with life tonight, melodies weaving through halls, joy kindled in spaces I shaped. Proportions guide unwitting souls, details evoke unspoken delight. Marcus claims the laurels, as master decrees. Yet truth resides in the stones, in the symmetries echoing divine order. During preparations, I stood at the heart, 6 vistas unfolding, harmonics resonating, light's promise fulfilled. Perfection incarnate. Mine in essence, beyond deeds or chains. The visible bows to the veiled, architecture of spirit triumphs over flesh. He sealed the tome, snuffing the flame. Outside, the mansion loomed silent, secrets nestled in its core like seeds awaiting judgment's harvest. Post-completion, rhythms settled into deceptive normalcy. Marcus summoned further labors, bespoke furnishings echoing the mansion's grace, a secretaire for the library, panels etched with motifs of fall and redemption, a pavilion in the garden mirroring the facade like a lesser tabernacle. Nathan executed each with unwavering precision, his hands extensions of a higher will. Yet demand burgeoned beyond the Grenvilles. Whispers traversed elite circles, the Grenville craftsman wrought wonders. Commissions flooded, a mantle for the Davidsons, evoking hearth as sanctuary, a sideboard for Harringtons, laden with symbolic fruits of labor, bank lobby carvings depicting commerce's double-edged sword, prosperity shadowed by exploitation. Nathan toiled ceaselessly, earnings funneled into an account Marcus controlled, a mirage of agency, better than destitution but no liberation. Catherine's visits punctuated the routine, formal yet laced with subtle regard. In October 1856, she tarried after appraising a hallway cabinet, its doors inlaid with olive branches, emblems of peace amid strife. "May I inquire something personal?" she ventured, voice soft as autumn leaves. "Of course, ma'am. Do you harbor resentment toward the house?" Nathan laid his plane aside, weighing words like measured angles. "In what manner? Creating such splendor, yet denied its embrace. It strikes me as an affliction of cruelty." He pondered, gaze drifting to workshop windows framing the distant mansion. "I've known its interiors through thresholds, ma'am, every measure, every shadow. But to dwell within, no." Her eyes held empathy's gleam. "I acknowledge your authorship, Nathan, irrespective of proclaimed origins." "Gratitude, ma'am." As she turned, she paused. "The house embodies flawlessness. Take pride in that." Pride? A complex fruit, biblical hubris, or righteous satisfaction? Despite erasure, he had birthed endurance, a legacy outlasting mortal coils, like David's psalms echoing through ages. Years flowed in seasonal cadence, springs blooming with azaleas and fresh orders, summers sweltering with slowed chisels, falls crisp with urgency, winters biting with aching joints. Nathan's renown swelled covertly, craftsmen across Georgia revered him, enslaved peers saw inspiration. Yet bondage persisted, a chain forged in sin's forge. By fall 1859, shadows lengthened nationally. Secession murmurs infested salons, states' rights clashing with unions' bonds like Cain's envy. South Carolina bristled, Georgia teetered. Marcus grew fractious, shipping ventures imperiled by northern sanctions, cotton empires vulnerable. He secluded in his study, ledgers his battlefield, safeguarding wealth against apocalyptic winds. Then October brought affliction, a cough, dismissed as trifling. It deepened, fevers raged, weakness ensnared. By November, bedridden, Marcus summoned physicians, somber figures with leeches and elixirs, mercury's poison, herbal's hope, feudal against divine decree. Delirium descended, cries for a long-gone father, accusations at phantoms, demands for grander edifices, echoes of Babel's folly. The household tensed, servants whispering prayers. Nathan persisted in craft, but air thickened with portent. On November 10, Talbot intruded, master worsens. Days, perhaps. Nathan stilled his tools. Noted. Mistress insists work endures, obligations bind. Focus eluded Nathan that eve. Marcus, purchaser, enabler, denier. The prohibition never enter, would it perish with him? Journal opened, yet quill hovered blank, thoughts a whirlwind of boundaries and beyond. Marcus clung 4 days, breaths ragged as judgment's rasp. Catherine recited scriptures, psalms of deliverance, verses on vanity. Daughters vigiled. At 3:17 a.m., November 14, 1859, he yielded, Catherine, Virginia, doctor witnessing. Shock rippled, architect of fortune fallen. Catherine commanded with stoic grace, funeral November 17, mirrors veiled, clocks halted at death's hour, crepe draping portals like sin's shroud. Visitors streamed, condolences a litany. Talbot relayed mid-morning, masters passed. Funeral Thursday, staff attends. Nathan nodded. Understood. Feelings? Talbot probed. Uncertain. He afforded workshop, tools, esteem, yet withheld truth. Strange, palace designer, credit stolen. Perhaps mistress rectifies. Doubtful. Alone, Nathan's chisel faltered. 7 years edict, Marcus's decree. Death dissolved it? Afternoon waned, he wandered garden, November chill biting like conscience. Mansion loomed, drawing room's warmth, library's wisdom, ballroom's echoes, all his, yet alien. Until now. Supper skipped, workshop vigil in bloom. Talbot checked, well? Affirmative. Uncertainty reigns with him gone. Indeed. Post-departure, Nathan sat shadowed. Household quieted, voices hushed, lights dimmed. At 11, he rose, crossing garden, Catherine's window aglow, house otherwise somber. Prudence urged retreat, respect for the departed. Yet feet propelled to rear door, unlocked amid chaos. Handle turned, threshold breached. 7 years shattered. Disorientation surged, hallways proportions enveloped physically, floors resonant underfoot, air circulated as designed, fresh, balanced. Forward he ventured, through service realms to grand hall. Moonlight bathed the expanse, staircase arcing like Grace's curve, balustrade casting intricate shadows, marble cool as redemption's promise. Harmony palpable, acoustics pure, visuals aligned. To the center, geometries convergence. Turning slowly, absorbing, plasters finesse, cornices elegance, doorways revelations. Reality mirrored vision, flawless. Nathan. He whirled. Catherine atop stairs, robed in midnight, hair unbound like a prophetess. Descent deliberate. Hand gliding balustrade, his carvings. I heard intrusion, she murmured, nearing. Thought perhaps, intruders. Apologies, ma'am. I'll depart. Halt. She surveyed hall. Sensations within? Precisely envisioned, proportions, sound, light even nocturnal. She stepped to nexus. This spot's deliberate. Why? Revelation tempted. Geometric epicenter. 6 rooms visible, acoustics heightened, light focused diurnally. She rotated, eyes widening. Unnoticed before. Subtle mastery. Intentional concealment. The house stirred faintly, perhaps wind, perhaps spirit. Divine justice hovered, sin's ledger open. What followed would etch legacy eternal. Moonlight pooled across the marble floor like spilled silver, illuminating the grand hall in spectral clarity. Nathan stood at the precise geometric center, the nexus where 7 hidden markers aligned in perfect hexagon, each carved symbol a silent testament to his unacknowledged sovereignty. Catherine's question lingered in the air between them, heavy as incense in a confessional. What else have you hidden in this house? He hesitated, the weight of 7 years' secrecy pressing against his ribs. Marcus lay cold in his bed upstairs, the prohibition that had defined Nathan's existence shattered like fragile glass. Catherine's eyes held no accusation, only a quiet, almost reverent curiosity, the gaze of someone glimpsing scripture written in unfamiliar script. There are 7 markers, he said at last, voice low and steady. Carved into balustrades, moldings, keystones, seemingly ornamental flourishes. They form a flawless hexagon with this spot as its heart. The proportions between rooms obey sacred ratios, golden means, harmonic sequences drawn from ancient wisdom and biblical measure. The visible mansion is elegant architecture. Beneath it lies another, invisible, immutable, mine alone. Catherine's breath caught faintly. Why embed such things? Because it is the only portion of this edifice that belongs unequivocally to me. The words emerged calm, devoid of bitterness, carrying instead the quiet authority of truth long withheld. Marcus could seize the surface, the columns, the pediments, the praise of society. But the deeper architecture, the mathematics of order, the language of proportion, the silent signature of understanding, that remains beyond his reach. It is my mark upon the world, inscribed where no hand can erase it. Silence stretched, thick and contemplative. Then Catherine spoke again, softer. I found your journal. Hidden behind the panel near the staircase. Nathan's pulse quickened, he had forgotten the second, more comprehensive volume, the one that chronicled not merely events, but convictions. The intimate confessions, the technical revelations of the concealed schema. I've read every page, she continued. The patterns, the calculations, the purpose behind each symbol. And your final entry, written the day before he died, tomorrow it ends. Or tomorrow it begins. What did you intend? He remembered the moment vividly, Marcus's labored breathing echoing through the house like a death knell, the air charged with impending transformation. I sensed a threshold approaching. His death would either seal the prohibition forever, enforced by custom, by family, by fear, or dissolve it entirely. That night, crossing into this hall, I chose. The rule died with him. Catherine moved to the staircase, fingers trailing the balustrade he had carved through countless winter nights. Each spindle a prayer made wood, acanthus for resurrection, vines for enduring life, hidden sigils for justice deferred. He accepted adulation for your labor. He erected barriers to punish your greater gift. I should condemn your trespass tonight. Yet I cannot. You wrought something transcendent, Nathan, something that will endure when marble crumbles and names fade. You deserve to inhabit what you birthed, if only once. Relief uncoiled within him, warm and unfamiliar. Thank you, ma'am. She ascended a few steps, then paused. Return when you wish after dark, when the house is still. Experience your creation fully. Consider it restitution for 7 years of stolen credit. She vanished into the upper shadows, leaving him alone with the hall's resonant quiet. For long minutes he remained motionless, absorbing the enormity, acknowledgement, however partial, permission, however clandestine. Then, slowly, he explored drawing room aglow in moonlight, library shelves lined with volumes he had proportioned for contemplation, dining chamber where tables awaited feasts of fellowship, ballroom where echoes still lingered from the grand opening. Every space fulfilled his vision, light falling precisely, sound traveling with intended grace, harmony palpable as prayer. Near 2 o'clock, he withdrew to the workshop. The boundary had been irrevocably crossed. Nothing would ever revert to its former state. November 17, 1859 dawned leaden, clouds pregnant yet withholding their tears. Laurel Grove Cemetery received Marcus Grenville with solemn pomp, marble monument rising austere, eulogist proclaiming his visionary contribution to Savannah's architectural splendor. Nathan stood among household staff at the periphery, features impassive as the grave itself. The reception that followed filled the mansion with mourners, whispers of legacy, uncertainty, looming war. Virginia, 24 and betrothed, performed grief with practiced poise, Margaret and wept openly. Catherine presided with dignified restraint, widows weeds a mantle of expected sorrow. Nathan labored unseen in service quarters, ensuring seamless order while remaining spectral. That evening, Virginia entered her father's study to sort papers. In the locked drawer she discovered a leather portfolio, 60 sheets of Nathan's drawings, preliminaries, revisions, final plans each bearing, in meticulous script, Nathan Grenville. Revelation struck like lightning. Her father had not conceived, he had appropriated. She carried the portfolio to Catherine. Did you know? I knew he executed the design, Catherine replied, voice steady yet strained. But these originals? I believed them destroyed. They proved the deception. Yes. Later, a housemaid uncovered a hidden cavity behind a staircase panel, Nathan's comprehensive journal. Catherine read alone as night deepened, entries unfolding from May 1852 to November 13, 1859. Beyond construction logs lay confession, the mansion as autobiography in geometry, each proportion embodying unspoken creed, order against chaos, beauty against bondage, justice veiled yet unyielding. One passage pierced deepest, the house is scripture in space. Surface readers see elegance, the initiated discern doctrine. I have written my testament here, beliefs I dared not voice aloud, rendered in immutable form. Catherine understood, she had dwelt 4 years inside another man's mind, his intellect framing her daily existence. Next morning she summoned the estate lawyer. Manumission in Georgia demanded ingenuity, yet papers were drafted, Nathan freed, workshop deeded to him as protected property. 3 days later, she presented them. Why, he asked. Because your creation transcends ownership. And because you merit sovereignty over at least the place where genius was born, even if the greater work remains claimed by another. And the truth? The drawings? His legacy? I wrestle with it. Truth would honor you, shatter falsehoods. Yet it risks my daughter's futures, our standing, his memory. For now, the narrative endures. Nathan accepted the documents without flourish, returning to his workshop. Freedom arrived not with fanfare, but quiet finality. No longer chattel, yet the mansion's authorship stayed shrouded. As 1860 dawned, sectional fissures widened toward rupture. Nathan labored as a nominally free artisan, commissions arriving unbidden from discerning patrons. Yet transformation marked him, reticence deepened, withdrawal intensified. Having stood at creation's core, having received partial absolution, he attained a form of completion. No further grand designs emerged. One perfect mansion suffices, he would reply when pressed. Catherine glimpsed him occasionally in twilight gardens, gazing at the house like a pilgrim before a shrine. She never intruded, some communion transcended words. War erupted in 1861, reshaping destinies. Virginia's betrothal dissolved in Shiloh's carnage. Margaret wed a maimed Gettysburg survivor, and remained unwed, sustaining the household through privation. The mansion endured, columns steadfast, proportions unyielding, hidden geometries whispering truths only one soul fully grasped. Nathan lived to 1883, crafting until frailty intervened. Unmarried, childless, Savannah-bound, his world shrank to workshop confines, tools, sketches, half-finished commissions. In 1882, Catherine 7 years gone, the mansion passed to Virginia's son, Marcus II. Nathan, 60 and wearied, penned a request, one final visitation. Granted, he arrived October's chill afternoon, gait deliberate. Marcus II met him formally. The main hall, if permissible. Curiosity piqued, the young master acquiesced. Nathan reached the center point. Slowly he revolved, absorbing, plaster pristine, cornices graceful, staircase defying apparent weight, harmonies intact after 3 decades. Servants later swore he smiled rare sunlight on austere features. Still perfect, he murmured. As it should be. You know this house intimately, Marcus II observed. I built it. Every line, every measure mine. Impossible. Grandfather. Claimed what he did not conceive. Calm, unheated. Drawings exist. Journals too. Proof awaits if sought. Marcus II flushed. Preposterous. Yet factual. No matter. The house persists, beautiful, enduring. That suffices. Nathan departed with quiet gratitude, never to return. He passed that January, peacefully amid tools and remnants. Marcus II searched archives, unearthed portfolio, and corroboration. Yet he chose silence. Truth would wound reputation, invite scrutiny of ancestral sin. The official chronicle persisted, Marcus Grenville, visionary architect. The mansion endures in Savannah's historic core, surviving war, reconstruction, decay, restoration. Guides extol classical purity, occasionally noting enslaved hands' labor, seldom naming the mind behind it. Journals repose in private holdings, unpublished. Hidden markers remain unseen by most. Yet on certain evenings, when sunlight slants precisely through tall windows, stand at the central point. Observe alignments, listen to acoustics, feel light's convergence. If attuned, you discern Nathan's map, proportions declaring presence, understanding, authorship. A silent proclamation, I was here. I created. This is mine. The house remembers. Even when history forgets. Viewer, reflect, should we unearth such buried truths? Should erased creators reclaim their due, or does preservation of fragile legacies justify continued silence? Share your thoughts below. If these shadowed histories move you, subscribe, more revelations await. Your voice ensures they endure.